What's up guys, Jonny May here and welcome to this week's quick tip where I'm going to teach you how to take a very simple melody and turn it into a gorgeous jazz ballad or cocktail piano. Now in this preview lesson, I'm going to teach you the melody and I'm also going to teach you rootless voicings, which are gorgeous jazz chords. Let me show you what it sounds like with this tune. Now this lesson comes from my course, How to Play Jazz Ballads and Cocktail Piano. And in this course, we do a super deep dive on this topic, and I break basically everything down for you. I teach you seventh chords, we talk about the root chord pattern that is so essential to stride music, we talk about the money range for the bass notes and the chords, and how to play inverted chords to get a really nice sound, right? We talk about rootless voicings, we talk about the stride pattern for rootless voicings, to give a super nice solo piano sound. We talk about how to harmonize your bass notes and what notes you can add to your bass notes to make it sound really beautiful. And then we talk about right hand harmonization and what notes you can add to your right hand melody to make it sound really beautiful and lush. We're going to talk about runs. Okay. We're also going to talk about how to create an introduction. Okay. This is the beautiful turnaround progression. It's a stock intro that you can use on lots of jazz ballads. And finally, I'm going to teach you how to solo over this progression. There's an easy approach where you can use just 3 scales over the whole tune, and then there's a more advanced approach where I teach you some super cool scales that you can use to solo things like diminished scales and different modes. So if you want to do a super deep dive on this topic, check out the full-length course at Piano with Jonny. Now for a limited time, you can get the first 5 lessons of this course for free when you sign up for the Jazz Ballad Challenge. You'll get these videos to your email inbox. So if you want to sign up for that, I'll put a link below and let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to do is we're going to first look at the lead sheet together. And if you don't know what a lead sheet is a very basic way of presenting a song. It usually contains the chords and the melody. And so what we're going to do is we're first going to look at the melody, because the melody is the most important thing of an arrangement. You need to always make sure you have the melody down before you start adding chords and you start embellishing the melody. So let's go ahead and first take a look at the lead sheet. Okay, so guys, we're in the key of C major. You're going to have mostly white notes in this arrangement, so just kind of keep that in mind. And we're going to walk fairly quickly through the melody because, again, this is an intermediate advanced lesson. If you find this lesson is a little too fast for you, you can check out the beginner intermediate lesson where I go over more basic concepts and I go a little bit slower. Okay, guys, so let's go phrase by phrase. Here's the first part of the melody. Okay. So very, very simple melody. We're starting up here on the high G. By the way, the red dot here is middle C. Okay, so starting on the high G, we're going G down to C, and then we're just going to walk down from F. Very simply there. Okay, starting on a finger 4, just like that. Okay, next phrase. Okay, walking down from G. Right, G, F, E, D, C, all white notes. Okay, next phrase. You guys see what we're doing here? Basically walking down a D minor chord, right? A, G, F, E, D, and then we walk up E, F, A. Okay, it's kind of the end of that little phrase there. Okay, here's the next phrase. Okay, real simple, G down to C. And then the final phrase. Okay, real simple. Basically starting on the high G, G, C, D, F, a little skip there, and then E, D, C. Okay, That's the basic melody. Guys, this is the A section of the tune. Really, really important to make sure this section is rock solid, okay? So I would go back and play this several times, and what you want to do is you want to memorize this melody. Now we do have the lesson sheet music here, and this is available for download for our members here at pianowithjohnny.com, and we also have the smart sheet music, so you guys can check that out as well. So this is a nice reference. If you don't read sheet music, that's totally fine. You don't have to be able to read sheet music. Let's do the A section once more, and then I'll move you on to the B section, okay? Here we go once again, guys. G, down to C, walk it down from F, down to B. There's the 2-finger on B. Now we're going to walk it down from G, all white notes. Now we're walking it down from A. Okay, G, down to C. And our final phrase, G, C, D, F, E, D, C. Okay, it's a lot very similar to the tune The Way You Look Tonight, but slightly different. But you can use a lot of these ideas that we're presenting here on tunes like The Way You Look Tonight, because this actually follows the same chord progression. I want to move you guys on to the B section. The B section. All right, guys, that was a little bit from lesson number 1. Let's go ahead and skip to lesson number 4, where you're going to learn rootless voicings and how to apply them to the melody. All right, you're doing a fantastic job. You've made a ton of progress with the melody, the chords, the root position chords, the stride pattern using root position chords, and then the inverted chords, which we've already talked about, guys. And what are we going to do next? We're going to level it up. We're going to make it sound even better, okay? So what's kind of the next thing that I would do with this, okay? If you just, want it to sound even cooler, well, it's the topic of rootless voicings, okay? And again, we're in the left hand right now. We haven't even talked about the right hand or the right hand yet, but what if you want to make the left hand sound more interesting? Well, what do you do with it? Play rootless voicings. Now, rootless voicings is a topic in and of itself, and it's a really important thing to be able to understand your rootless voicings. We talk a lot about them in our lessons at pianowithjohnny.com, and we have whole exercises for the rootless voicings. But what we're going to do is we're going to be using them in the next section here. And what I want to do first, we're going to actually go over the rootless voicings for this tune. But what I first want to do is a quick review on what rootless voicings are and how you create rootless voicings. Okay, and basically, you're going to see most of the time in jazz 3 types of chords, and we've talked about this earlier. You're going to see major 7 chords, you're going to see dominant 7th chords, or dominant 7th actually are here, and then minor 7th chords. Those are the 3 primary chords you're going to see in jazz. You're occasionally going to see the diminished chords, the fully diminished, half diminished chord, which is the minor 7, flat 5 chord, but 95% of the time you're going to see one of these 3 chords. So how do you play a major chord using a rootless voicing? Okay, well, let's start with this one. So C major 7. Anytime you see a C major chord, if it's a C major 7, C major 6, C major 6, 9, it's functioning as a major 7th chord. Okay, the way that I typically build a voicing on this chord is like this. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm taking notes that sound really good from the chord, and I'm sort of putting it together in a little cluster. And there's a formula behind this. This is the main approach. This is called an A voicing. And the way an A voicing works is you take the 3rd of the chord, the 5th, you can take the 7 or the 6. I like the 6 better, but 7 or the 6, and the 9 of the chord. Or you could think of it as a 2. Okay, but in jazz we typically call it a 9. It's a 6-9 chord. Okay, 3, 5, 6, 9, and this is the way that we typically play major chords if we want to do something really beautiful and interesting with it. Okay, this is called the A voicing, and what makes it an A voicing is that the 3rd is on the bottom of the chord. Okay, and if you want to practice these, you can do these in other keys. You could practice your A voicing on an F major chord, 3, 5, 6, 9. Okay. Or you could do it on a B flat major chord, 3, 5, 6, 9. Okay? You could do it on an A flat chord, 3, 5, 6, 9. Okay? This is how you build A voicings on a major chord. Okay? So this is the idea here. We're going to be applying it here in a minute. The other way to apply this chord is called a B voicing. Okay? And that's where you put the 6 or the 7 on the bottom. Okay? 6, 9, 3, 5. The 6 is on the bottom. You could also use the 7 as a substitute for the 6. Many jazz pianists will use both. They'll do that, or they'll do that. Okay? Or you can come down here, you can do that, or you can do that. It's up to you. In fact, if I was sitting on a major chord, you can do both. Kind of go between them, okay? So you can choose which one you want. I think for ballads, most of the time I use the 6th instead of the 7, okay? So once again, guys, the A voicing is built 3-5, 6-9, and the B voicing is built 6-9, 3-5, or 7-9, 6-5. Or, excuse me, 7-9, 3-5. Okay, that's the chord. That's the A and the B voicing for a major chord. Let's look at minor chords. Minor chords, let's look at our C minor 7. If you have a C minor 7 chord, it might be written C little m7 or C-7, means minor 7. The way you treat that is like this. This is an A voicing, okay? You build it 3-5, 7, 9, okay? It's called an A voicing. It's built on the 3rd of the chord, okay? What's the B voicing? Well, the B voicing is built on the 7th, just like we did on the A voicing, or we did here on major when we did our B voicing. Remember, it's built on the 6th, and you can also use the 7th as a substitute. Well, it's the same thing here. We're going to build it like this: 7, 9, 3, and 5. That's how we typically build a minor chord rootless voicing. Okay, you guys got this? A voicing 3, 5, 7, 9, and the B voicing 7, 9, 3, and 5. All right, final chord, dominant chord. This is the more challenging one to see. A dominant chord has a really cool sound. That's the sound of a dominant chord, okay? And what am I doing here? Well, I've got E, A, B flat, and D. And you might be thinking, what the heck? What are all these notes? Well, this is the 3rd of the chord, this is the 7, and this is the 9, okay? But then we have this A. What is this A? Okay, this is the 13. If you study jazz music, you'll see 13 chords, and it's a little intimidating at first because you might be thinking, what's a 13? That's so confusing. Well, chords are built in thirds: root, 3rd, 7, or root, 3rd, 5th, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay? This all comes from the C major scale. Like, that's how you build a major chord in thirds: root, 3rd, 5th, 7, 9, 11, 13. The 13 is like a 6. Okay, so the 6 of a C scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is an A. That's one way you can think of it, okay? So it's a C7 chord, but we're making it more interesting by adding some of these extensions to the chord. The extension is the 9 and the 13, okay? It's a C13 chord. It's a dominant chord. E, A, B flat, D. It's called an A voicing because we build it on the 3rd of the chord. Okay, C7, that's the root position chord, there's the 3rd, and this is the chord. Does that make sense? Okay, so how, if you wanted to figure out this chord on maybe in an F7, how would you build this chord? 3, 13, 7, 9. Okay, well, you do it on an F. That's our F7 rootless voicing for the A voicing. 3, 13, 7, 9. Is this making sense? Okay, and again, this is a whole topic. It takes students a while to really understand rootless voicings, but I want you to understand how we're building these chords. And if you approach another jazz standard and you encounter a dominant chord, a C7 or a C9 or a C13, you'll know what to do with it. And you can try an A voicing or a B voicing. Okay, the A voicing is down here. The B voicing is up there. B flat, D, E, A. 7, 9, 3, 13. Okay, and once again, you can do this in other keys. You can do it on F, 7, 9, 3, 13. You could do it on G, 7, 9, or excuse me, yeah, 7, 9, 3, 13 on G would be there. 7, 9, 3, 13. Okay? So guys, this is how rootless voicings work. They're gorgeous chords. They don't contain the root. That's why they're called rootless chords. And they're the most important chords, in my opinion. If you want to play jazz piano, they're the most important chords to know. Okay? And the most important voicings, because you use them in all the styles. You use them in jazz, blues, use it in swing music, in ballads, and Latin music. Very, very important. Rootless voicings, we have 2 ways to approach each chord. Now, I did mention, you know, these are the main chords you'll see, but you will see some minor 7 flat 5 chords. You'll see some diminished, half diminished chords. We'll talk about what to do with those later, but this should cover most of the chords. All right, let's go through all the rootless voicings. C major 7, we're going to play like this. E, G, A, and D. 3, 5, 6, 9. A minor 7 will be here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the root down here so you can really hear the chord, the magic of the chord. But do play the chord in your left hand because this is the hand you're going to play the chords in when we do the arrangement. That's your C. And you can play the roots with me if you want. There's your A. G, B, C, and E. It's a rootless voicing. 7, 9, 3, and 5. Okay, this is the B voicing because it's built on the 7. It's an A minor 7. D minor 7 is the next chord. All right, guys, this concludes the preview lesson. Did you enjoy the lesson? If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Now, if you enjoyed this, I want to mention once again that you can sign up for the first 5 lessons of this course for free when you sign up for the Jazz Ballad Challenge. There's a link to that below. And if you want instant access to this course, you can pick up your free 14-day trial at pianowithjohnny.com. And this not only gives you access to this course, but it gives you access to our entire course catalog at Piano with Johnny. Currently over 400 lessons in the styles that you love. And you can learn jazz and Latin jazz and swing music and jazz ballads and funk and gospel. And we teach theory and improvisation. Guys, it is a full learning platform. We have lessons for all playing levels and we add new lessons every single month. We have a ton of sheet music arrangements, currently over 150 sheets. And we have the Piano with Johnny community, which is an awesome community. We do live events every month. We do a live Q&A every single month. You can ask me your practice questions. We do a live workshop lessons where the students can ask me questions during the lesson. We do weekly challenges for our members. We have ear training exercises. Guys, it is the full learning platform. So you can check out the membership at pianowithjohnny.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.